Hello again, everyone, and welcome to a brand new edition of Zips Weekly with head football coach Joe Moorhead, brought to you each week by Bryant Heating and Cooling. Hey, a quick reminder, the Zips right back on the road Saturday night, this time down in Birmingham, Alabama, to take on the UAB Blazers. That will be a 7:30 kickoff in Birmingham, which means it will kick off at 8:30 local time here in the Eastern Standard Time. And remember, we'll be on the air on 640 WHLO 1 hour before kickoff with the pregame show, and then the Zips back home. They take on the Duquesne Dukes on September the 20th, a 6 o'clock kickoff at InfoCision Stadium. Let's bring the coach into the conversation. As always, Coach, I talked to you after the game over in Nebraska. Then I saw your press conference, and I'll give you credit. You did not sugarcoat anything after watching that game over in Lincoln.
Great to be back and see you again, Joe. But you certainly got to give credit to Coach Rowe and his staff for putting together a great game plan and executing it at a high level. And when you're involved in this game long enough, heading into almost year 30, been on both ends of these type of games, and it certainly ain't no fun when a rabbit got the gun. Yeah. So you got to take your beat like a man. Like I said, tip your cap, learn from it, and move on.
We're going to talk about some of the player performances a little bit later in the program, but I'm guessing right now, Coach, the senior leadership has to step up and remind these guys we still have 10 games left to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the old adage goes, last week doesn't matter this week, whether it's good or bad. Met with the captains this morning after their lift and kind of, addressed the game and, moving forward. And they're kids, so there's going to be a little bit of, they're not happy. I mean, exactly. The result wasn't what was intended, and it was a significant loss from a point standpoint. But they're resilient, and we're going to watch it this afternoon and move on to UAB.
There you go. Let's go back out to Lincoln, Nebraska this past Saturday night. What a great environment for a college football game. The place was packed. We got there on Friday. Fans walking all over Lincoln, Nebraska with their gear on. It was a great atmosphere to play college football in. The Zips, for the second straight week, win the coin toss. We defer, Coach, and Nebraska has the football to begin play.
Yeah, that was a great hustle play by true freshman Luke Savon out of Perry, who's really making a name for himself on special teams. Great speed guy, and as we always talk about in the latter segments of the show, a young kid who's going to be a really good zip down the road.
Nebraska's going to score on the opening possession. They're going to lead this football game 7-0 early. And take a look at your team, Coach. The first 3 times you had the football, you had the possessions at the 23, at the 2, and again at the 1. So not much field position.
Yeah, that's really been the case, the entire season. I don't know that we've had a possession start in positive field position, maybe outside of one in Wyoming. And, the percentages show that the closer you start to your own goal line, the harder it is to score, but we got to figure out ways to do it. And certainly this Rayola kid, their O-line, the wideouts, the running back were as advertised, and, just made it a tough day all around in all 3 phases.
There's a nice hit by Justin Anderson, and the fumble, I think, is recovered by Cyrus Durham.
Yeah, Justin flew around, a great hit there down near the goal line, got it out, and gave us an opportunity there to get the ball back.
I think this is one more look at this. Looks like he's going in, and here comes Justin Anderson out of nowhere, knocks the ball loose, as we said. Defensive end Cyrus Durham on the recovery.
Yeah, Justin's a guy who played some ball for us last year, and I think a good evaluation by our assistant coaches, a kid that didn't have any other offers and has come in and has played a high level of football. And, Cyrus coming in out of the portal from Arizona has done a real nice job too.
He had a great goal line stand, Coach, and I mentioned on the radio side, Nebraska's noted for their weight department, how strong they are, and you stepped them down there.
Yeah, we did, and they're I think one of the top 3 most experienced offensive lines in the country, and they certainly looked apart getting off the bus, and during pregame warm-ups, they looked like a big old corn-fed Nebraska offensive line, and our guys did a good job down there by the goal line burrowing in and getting the stop on the quarterback sneak.
Yeah, that's a 230-pound quarterback trying to sneak in, and he didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that kid's a good player, man. I could see why he was so highly touted and sought after, and he can throw the ball around.
There's Bruno Dahl tipping that one. Big number 41, stick out that big paw, knocks it down, and his mother flew in all the way from Germany to watch the game, Coach.
Yeah, Bruno's a great kid. Came into the United States to play the high school down in Mississippi. Once again, a kid without any offers that we were able to make a good evaluation, and Bruno's going to have a good year.
Nice timing pattern there for a first down, but Nebraska right back with the football, leading 12-0 here in the first half play out in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, you saw Marcel Williams there with the catch and had one earlier on in the highlights. The kid came in from Marshall and is a guy that we're really counting on moving forward. This guy had our best game on offense for the second straight week. Sean Patrick ran behind his pads, was able to make plays in open space, averaged close to 5 yards a carry. So that was on a day where there weren't a ton of bright spots. He was one of them.
You could see how strong he was in that run. He just knocked over that Nebraska safety.
Yeah, he got behind his pads, and like I said, when he came in here, 165 pounds, he's up almost near 190 now, so playing with a lot more confidence because he built his body up.
This is Jordan Gant with the run,
Yeah.
a transfer, and also runs hard. Probably you got those two running backs, 1-2 right now in the backfield.
We do, and the exciting part is for 2 games, we've had our running backs average right around 5 yards a carry, which hasn't been the case. And, you know, unexpectedly and a little bit disappointing is we haven't been able to get our pass game going, which I thought was going to be one of our strengths coming into this season. So excited about how we've done with the run game, getting the balls in the running backs' hands, but we gotta pass the ball a lot better, and we'll do that moving forward.
Has the offensive line given you a lot of protection? You're satisfied with that, Coach?
I wouldn't say a lot. I'd say
enough.
More than they have in the past. I don't know if I'd say that either. But like we got to give Ben time to get through his progressions and get to his second hitch. So right now, if he's not throwing off a rhythm or off of one hitch, we're breaking down in the pocket a little bit.
Yeah.
So we got to firm up. I would say it's not great. It's a little bit better than good, but we got to give him time because we've schemed up some guys running open downfield. So we got to give them time. We got to throw it accurately, and certainly, as you saw, we got to catch the football. So
Exactly.
we'll improve that moving forward.
Exactly. Hey, we're going to take a break. We're at halftime from Saturday's game out at Lincoln. Back with second half highlights right after this.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
Here, let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes E.H. Roberts Heating and Cooling. Find them at ehroberts.com.
The amount of experience you can gain from the University of Akron can't be overstated, whether it's designing components, manufacturing parts, and then actually just going and testing and driving a race car. How many people get to say they do that in college,
I've had amazing opportunities here at the University of Akron. I feel surrounded by love, by support. I know that I can be successful here, and that was always my goal. So I know that the people here are here to help me.
Okay, welcome back to Zips Weekly with head football coach Joe Moorhead. We are at halftime in Saturday's game out at Lincoln, Nebraska against the Cornhuskers. Their opening home game of the season. You could tell by the downtown it was electric, Coach. You've been in a lot of great environments, a lot of great college towns. Lincoln is something special.
Yeah, they've definitely entered my top 10 of not just college football towns, but environments. And, just an unbelievable fan base, super supportive.
Yeah.
Their marketing, crew put on a great show, and everyone stayed through the end.
There you go. Hey, let's go back out to Lincoln to pick up second half highlights. As we said at the top of the program, the Zips won the coin toss. They deferred. We're going to get the football to start things off. And Sean Patrick's going to, again, I think, run for a first down.
Yeah, Sean's been playing really, really good football. And like I said, a guy we're going to count on moving forward. We were fighting out of our playing weight in this one, right? So now moving forward, we're going to, be punching at the same weight. So hopefully we can continue to get some plays like this.
Hey, Sean Patrick, again, watch this, Coach. He's going to get hit. And he's going to drag a couple of Cornhuskers for 2 or 3 additional yards.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about with the staff and heading into film this afternoon. That there's certain plays that we weren't able to execute based on the disparity in talent. And then there were certain things that we didn't execute that didn't have anything to do with Nebraska, right? Make the throw, make the block, catch the ball, be in your right gap, use the right fundamentals and technique on tackle. So got to just glean the positives out of it and, once again, figure out what was because of Nebraska and then, quite frankly, what didn't have anything to do with them that we got to fix.
That was Elijah Reed knocking that one down. I thought he played a pretty good game. We're going to talk about him in the next segment. He had a good breakup in the first half and forced Nebraska to kick a field goal.
He did, and Eli did a nice job in coverage, was able to gain some confidence and make some plays, and got to work on the open field tackling a little bit, but Eli did have a very nice game.
Sean Patrick going to take a handoff. I think this is a 25-yard gallop down the sidelines right in front of the Nebraska coaches. Gave them an eyeful.
Yeah, and hopefully we can see some more of those explosive plays moving forward from Sean.
Another power run. It's good pursuit by the right side of that defense for the Zips. I think coming up to make the play on that one, Coach, picked up the number, I think it was number 1, wasn't it? That was
Yeah.
Lavensure?
Yeah, Julian Lavensure, team captain. Yeah, and that happened. They leaned on us a little bit and kind of wore us down, and were able to crease some runs. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, you go against a team of this caliber. There's a certain part of that's going to happen. You got to anticipate it, and just learn from it, move forward.
Zips still playing hard, deep into the football game.
Yeah, and you mentioned it after the game. It was good to get Michael Johnson in there, get him some reps at quarterback. Michael does a bunch of different things for us: wide out, tight end, quarterback, and see an explosive run from there and completed a pass. So good to give Michael some game reps.
Yeah, he's a big 225-pound running back, and he can take people on.
Yeah, completed a pass there to Tim Greer, which was good. See Marquise Williams split a run here. So, like I said, got to take the positive out of that with those young guys. And see C.J. Murphy.
That was my next question,
Yeah.
Coach. Playing against a team of that caliber, you got to come out of that playing better a little bit just by who you're playing against.
Yeah, and like I said, it's unfortunate that it was the scoreboard. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a beating, but like there's anything in life, you gotta learn from it. You gotta move on.
Other thing to remember, they are a highly financed football program. I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I read something online going into the weekend. I don't know if the number was accurate or not. That they all in spent $213 million on their football
surprised me a
program
bit.
last year. So yeah, I mean that's the price of poker in the Big Ten. And
Yeah.
they made the investment, and we wish Coach Roll and the Cornhuskers the best moving forward.
There you go. Hey, we're going to take a break, come back as we always do in segment 3 to talk about some of the player performances. We'll do that right after this timeout.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
Here, let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes E.H. Roberts Heating and Cooling. Find them at ehroberts.com.
The amount of experience you can gain from the University of Akron can't be overstated, whether it's designing components, manufacturing parts, and then actually just going and testing and driving a race car. How many people get to say they do that in college,
I've had amazing opportunities here at the University of Akron. I feel surrounded by love, by support. I know that I can be successful here, and that was always my goal. So I know that the people here are here to help me.
Okay, each week this time we let the coach talk about some of the player performances. This week we'll talk about the performances against Nebraska. A young man we talked about a lot last week and this week, Sean Patrick. And I guess the first question, Coach, number one, what did you see him as a high school player, or how much stronger he has got in the weight room?
Yeah, we identified Sean very early in the process up in Kenston. Coach Richardson did a really nice job in terms of the communication and getting him down to campus a bunch of times, and had a bunch of Power 4 offers early on. And as you know, in this day and age of recruiting, they tend to dry up. And, and unfortunately, I guess for Sean, unfortunately for us, we ended up, getting him, and we knew that. And I think a lot of he was a little bit light, and I think that's why a bunch of people backed off. But we've been able to bulk him up and get him going, and he's had a nice 2 games so far.
He ran for 67 yards against Nebraska with a long of 25. He saw him in the highlights run over one of the Nebraska safeties. What a bright future this young guy has in the Akron blue and gold. I was impressed with their wide receiver, Marcel Williams, had a couple of catches. Looks like he's a guy that can really get better the more reps he gets. He didn't play a lot, I don't think, at Marshall. He's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we got to continue to get Marcel more involved. He's one of the wideouts who's shown the ability to separate versus man-to-man and make contested catches. Really good route running technique. Strong hands. So he's definitely a guy, as you've seen in 2 games when he's been given an opportunity, been able to make plays. So we got to protect it up. We got to get some routes where we feel it's good one-on-ones, and we got to give them the ball.
Yeah, had a really good high school career down in Florida. How about linebacker Shimon Cooper? 9 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. The veteran came to play against Nebraska.
Yeah, when I watched the tape with the defense yesterday, and we were reviewing personnel, Coach Tibasar remarked that this was Shimon's best game as a Zip. I believe he said 11 tackles, 9 solo. So, Shimon, and he transferred from Illinois. So,
yes,
the big thing heading into the game, and I always talk about, you can't be surprised by the speed or the physicality of the game when you're playing up a level. And I think that caught up to some of our guys who don't have a ton of experience, and there were some wide eyes there. But Shimon was not one of them because he had spent some time in the Big Ten program.
Yeah, we talked about Elijah Reed, the defensive back, the transfer from Kentucky. Had, I thought, a pretty good game. Had a breakup and also a nice defensive coverage. It forced Nebraska to kick a field goal. He ends up with 1 pass breakup, good defense and coverage in the end zone. I thought he played pretty well overall.
He did, and he's gaining confidence. Another guy who wasn't surprised by the speed or physicality of the game because of his exposure to it at Kentucky under Coach Stoops and Coach White, the defensive coordinator. So. That's one of the benefits and values of getting guys who have been to bigger programs that maybe not necessarily in game conditions, but in practice going against other SEC or high-level players. I think that's why you see some of those guys are able to come in and have success. Yeah.
One of the highlights of the defense was that goal line stand against the Cornhuskers. And the big guy, you're going to have to talk about him, Coach. Nehemiah Muzica, 6'1", 340 pounds. I think he was in that goal line group. He's a guy that's the first one in the line for the lunches, right?
Yeah, he's 6'1", standing on a phone book, a couple of phone books. He's a little less than 6 foot, but 340 is probably that's probably about accurate. But yeah, we didn't have him for a majority of camp. He was getting through some academic issues coming in from a junior college, so he's really just practiced the last couple of weeks, and we thought he was going to be a player that could come in and contribute, and we had to get him ramped up and learning the defense and things like that. So yeah, he's a big, strong-bodied, thick lower half guy that can hold a point in the run game.
You put him over the nose, the center is going to look up and think you're playing against a mountain.
Yeah, he's like I say, a big guy, and he's once he continues learning the defense, and he'll see him in the game in some packages other than goal line.
Your staff has done a good job, Coach, of bringing in quality players at defensive end. We saw C.J. Nunnally. Look how you have another good one in Cyrus Durham.
Yeah, Cyrus is a guy that I named team captain and has really kind of made an impression on the team with his work ethic and his practice habits. And once again, as we continue to move forward, a guy that'll make plays. But we've had a pretty good run of defensive ends here, and now with Bruno and Cyrus and the 2 Frazier twins, and you got Cam Cheatham and Izzy Duncan got a little bit of playing time. But Cyrus is a guy that's going to be a really good player for us.
I mentioned on the radio side, and you alluded to this, he is on campus not very long, and all of a sudden, he's voted captain. That shows you what his teammates think of him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a one-person vote. I picked the captains. There wasn't a vote because that turns into a popularity contest. But to me, leadership, is first done by example, and then you earn the right to do it vocally, and through how those guys performed during summer conditioning, and then throughout the course of fall camp. It was a pretty easy choice to name those 4 guys captain. Yeah,
we're going to take a break. As we said at the top of the program, the Zips right back on the road Saturday night down in Birmingham, Alabama to take on the Blazers of UAB. We'll talk about that team right after this.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes E.H. Roberts Heating and Cooling. Find them at ehroberts.com.
The amount of experience you can gain from the University of Akron can't be overstated, whether it's designing components, manufacturing parts, and then actually just going and testing and driving a race car. How many people get to say they do that in college,
I've had amazing opportunities here at the University of Akron. I feel surrounded by love, by support. I know that I can be successful here, and that was always my goal. So I know that the people here are here to help me.
Well, it's another road game for the Zips on Saturday night, this time down in Birmingham, Alabama to take on the UAB Blazers. They come into that game with a record of 1-1. Their coach, no stranger to football fans, Trent Dilfer, coach, has been there for a while, and right now they're 1-1. Won their first game against Alabama A&M, I believe. I think that was a high-scoring game. Then they got beat by Navy this past weekend in a game that was tied up at halftime.
Yeah, obviously Coach Dilfer's got a storied history
Yes.
In the game as a player, and then transitioned into the booth, and then back to the
right.
sideline for high school, and then on to UAB. But certainly someone who's been around it as long as he has and achieved at a high level. You expect them to be very well prepared, and certainly 52 on Alabama State and scored 24 on Navy, and then you got a tough time defending them with the triple option. So, like any week, they're a scholarship team and playing a good conference, and they're going to be well prepared. So, got to head down into Alabama and be ready to play.
They gave up 463 yards of that Navy offense. That Navy offense, as you know, Coach, that's something you don't see every week.
Yeah, and it's almost impossible to replicate in practice.
Yeah,
so you really got to narrow your calls and have someone for the dive, have someone for the quarterback, have someone for the pitch, and also be ready for to defend play action. So as I heard someone say one time, if you can't stop the dive, it's going to be a long day. It'll never get to the pitch, and it's just a tough offense to defend.
Kind of a peculiar game, Coach. As we said, it was tied up against the Navy 24-24. They had 2 one-hour weather delays in that game.
Yeah, I think a storm front kind of swept through the East Coast there,
It did.
and you saw a bunch of games that were delayed, and I've been through 2 or 3 of those, and they are not fun. And credit to Navy that they're able to kind of persevere through that and get the win. And those are tough days.
Another familiar name at quarterback the Zips will face on Saturday night, Jalen Kitna, 6'5", 225-pound redshirt senior out of Tacoma, Washington. I'm assuming, Coach, you were on the West Coast. You may have heard of this guy before.
Yeah, that's John Kitna's son,
Yeah.
the NFL quarterback who, if I'm not mistaken, I believe is the head coach at Lakota East now.
Yeah.
Got to see, and then there's another one that just came out last year. I'm not sure where he ended up. So you got the one UAB, and then a kid signed last year. I saw him at a camp. So yeah, apple trees make apples. So
That's right.
John Kitna, really nice career as a quarterback, and now 2 sons that have gone on to play at college level. So yeah, he's throwing the ball around. They've scored some points, and he can make some plays with his feet too. So it'll be a difficult challenge. Yeah,
against the Navy, Kitna was 22 out of 32, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw 2 interceptions, so it put some pressure on him. Maybe that'll turn him over a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully they throw to the Zips instead of to the Blazers. But they've got some talent on the perimeter. Some fast guys to get the ball to, and they're schemed up pretty well. Their OC does a nice job of getting guys open. So yeah, we definitely got to, of the guys we got to contain on their offense. Kitna's at the top of the list.
Yeah, as we mentioned, the first 2 games, the Blazers have given up a lot of points, but they have some athletes. I mean, their safety Pierre Royster had 11 tackles against the Navy. Linebacker Devin Hightower 10 tackles. So they may have given up some points, but they have some athletes on that side of the football.
Yeah, they do a nice job mixing up their coverages and their pressure patterns, and like I said, we've got to clean up some things on our end on offense, obviously, to get ourselves going. But it'll definitely be a challenge against UAB.
Of course, the plane coming back from Lincoln did not land until maybe 3:30 in the morning. Now we're back on the plane again Friday. How much does that take out of a football team, those back-to-back travels, the long plane rides?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult in the sense that plus you're changing the time zone. So at the end of the day, Sunday's an off day for us, and the kids were able to, outside of a mandatory injury check to make sure that everyone's all right, had an off day. So they'll come back in this afternoon, and we'll get it rolling. Yeah,
I talked to a lot of fans, of course, disappointed about the loss, and I keep telling them the players are probably the guys that rebound quicker than anybody because they love to play the game. They'll be ready to go Saturday night down in Birmingham because they're here on campus to play football.
Yeah, they are, and they're kids, and they're resilient, and they'll bounce back. And I don't, no one takes a loss harder than the staff and the players, and it's something that you pour so many hours and your heart and soul into, and it stings and it hurts, and they carry it with you for a while. But at the end of the day, you gotta erase it. You gotta move on. And like I said, 10 more opportunities at a minimum, and this is the next one.
As we said, that is a 7:30 kickoff down in Birmingham, 8:30 here local time for the radio coverage and TV coverage. For the coach, I'm Joe Dunn. We'll see you back here next week with more Zips Weekly. And always remember, go Zips.